Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video. As you know, I've been watching Cybertruck production closely at Giga-Texas for some time. Assembly is still moving on. New trucks continue to arrive at the west end of line facility for final processing. And from the air, the line looks like it's still active, but something has been off. Actually, it's been this way for some time, and I've been wondering why and when we would see the anticipated big jump in Cybertruck production. The outbound logistics yard has been surprisingly quiet. Far fewer Cybertrucks are stacking up than I had expected, especially after that massive wave of orders for the $59,000 all-wheel drive version that came in during that 10-day window at the end of February. Demand is clearly there. The volume leaving the factory is not. On my previous video on Monday, I noticed a large number of front and rear castings are piling up near the north end of the main factory by the casting machine section. That kind of buildup usually means something further downstream is constrained. It looks like a lot of production is being held back, and I haven't figured out why, but now I think I have a pretty good idea. Last week, Tesla filed an emergency lawsuit in federal court here in Texas against Angstrom Automotive Group. Tesla says Angstrom is refusing to return specialized multi-ton tooling that Tesla owns, equipment that is used to make critical Cybertruck components. According to the filing, Tesla paid for both the custom tooling and the parts themselves. After Angstrom acquired the Troy, Texas plant from Anderton Casting, several Cybertruck-related parts stopped flowing to Giga-Texas. Tesla claims Angstrom has blocked multiple attempts to retrieve it, locked Tesla personnel out of the facility, and even demanded an extra $250,000 per week just to keep the plant running while the dispute was sorted out. And here's the crux of the situation. The tooling isn't ordinary. It includes large die-cast equipment, trim dies, fixtures, cutting tools, gauges, and X-ray inspection systems. Tesla says it would take 5 to 6 months to recreate this equipment. Right now, there is no alternative supplier. The company warns that its remaining inventory of these parts will be exhausted in mere days, and that several thousand customer-assigned Cybertrucks are already at risk. Tesla isn't asking for money. What it's asking the court is for emergency relief so it can recover its own tooling and keep the parts flowing before production is interrupted. Angstrom has a complicated recent history, an earlier $30 million judgment, a subsidiary bankruptcy, and a ransomware attack last December. But the immediate issue for Giga-Texas is simple. Critical tooling is being held and the clock is running. Of course, I'll keep flying and watching. The line is still moving for now, but at a slower rate. How long that continues may depend on what the court decides in the coming days. And of course, I will let you know the outcome once I find out. So while we wait for that situation to resolve, I thought I would show you a 4-month time-lapse of the North Campus. This is the construction of the Optimus Factory from the 23rd of March all the way to the 27th of July. This kind of documents the foundation changes, the excavation work, the building of the footings, the GeoPiers, and of course the erection of the steel structure. And that is starting to grow very, very quickly. We did have a lot of rains during this time frame, and that has slowed to some degree the work that is being done. And you can see some of the remnants on these images of all the water. Nevertheless, progress is going very quickly, and the structure is really emerging out of the ground at a very fast rate. From this perspective, you can look back and see the main factory. I did that on purpose, not only to give you context of where this is located, but also to remind you that this new factory is going to be a substantial percentage of the size and volume of the existing Giga-Texas plant. So that's it for this look back. I hope you enjoyed what we were able to see, and a lot more to come. So let's get into the drone, fly around, and see what Giga-Texas looks like today. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. right, good morning. Well, starting here on the south end of Giga-Texas, beautiful day to fly. I want to just look at the horizontal drilling that is underway here just on the east side of the highway. And this is pretty much what the situation looks like right now. It looks like there is drilling underway at this moment. See some of the workers near that drilling rig. And then as I pan up, a nice shot across the cyber pond. And we're going to go back on the other side of the highway and spend some time over by the test track where there is a lot of interesting activity here this early part of the morning. And as we get ready to go, you can see some of the trailers at the bottom of the screen. It seems like those have been moved around just a little bit and away from the bridge and that road that goes underneath the bridge. As we get closer to the test track, there is a few things that I want to point out before we see the action on the track itself. One, this new lot, all the transport trucks. It looks like there's a few semis as well here. None of them are Tesla semis, unfortunately, quite yet. But there is some news as far as the mega chargers, which we'll see a little bit later. As you can tell, there's a lot of Cybercabs driving around on the track. This is what the operations center looks like right now. And in those two kind of tent-like structures, there's two Cybercabs. This is also where they have lifts, so they do some inspections. But the big news here is this pack of Cybercabs driving around the oval. And there is a mix of both human-driven and fully autonomous vehicles, at least based on the markings with those Cybercab logos on some of them. And it looks like they're doing some kind of lane stopping, together passing, coming up for another section of stops, almost like it's simulating traffic of some sort. And they'll continue around on this oval. You can tell that there's several Cybercabs that are just stopped for whatever reason. That one is a fully autonomous one based on the Cybercab logos. And I'll try to keep the view on this one as the rest of them pass it by. And kind of panning back up, get a good look at all of the action with these Cybercabs, kind of like racing around the oval. They're not using those lanes with the kind of off different kinds of road surfaces today. It's mostly this oval. And as I kind of maneuver back around again, you can see that there's more of those vehicles with the Cybercab logos, and a lot of them with the human driven, and just this large mix doing some stop, go, lane changes, follows, and passing. So pretty neat to see all of this testing underway here this morning. I'll bring the drone up and we'll go across the power lines, take a look at what is going on at this material staging yard. As we bring the drone back down directly ahead, we can see all of those white packages. This is more of the production line equipment that has been delivered being unpacked. And of course, this is near where they do the supercharger workstation. Continuing to the north, we'll pass over the transformers. We do see some wooden crates at the bottom right, some new deliveries. Of course, a lot more of the materials being stored here on the north end. And then next to all the concrete vault items on the left, we'll see coming into view here, a lot of the steel corrugated pipes on the right and these red painted equipment, which I believe is part of the production lines. At least we've seen a lot of that inside the factory. This new guard gate is active today. We see the asphalt's been placed where they've reconfigured this particular intersection. We can see a lot more transport trucks coming to the site to get ready to pick up more vehicles. Speaking of which, we do see a lot of Model Ys, a decent group of Cybercabs, but very few of the Cybertrucks, and that kind of goes with what we were talking about in the intro, so that is definitely a story to keep watching. I did notice here at the wash rack, they've added another tent, so kind of extended it up here to the north, give them more shade. Probably a good idea with all the sun and the heat that we're having in the summer. Here's another good group of Cybercabs next to the end of line, and a smaller group of about 5 directly ahead. And most of the Model Ys have been kind of cleared out. We don't see a lot stored here on the side of the end of line. As I maneuver around here, just trying to give you a good look at the vehicles that are here, the mix, and the fact that there's not really a lot of the Cybertrucks. There is this other group of Cybercabs, which has been here for some time. I think there are a little bit of inventory changes through here, but for whatever reason, these have been sitting here for a good amount of time, at least in this small grouping. Looking at the Cybertrucks, this is pretty much all that is here today. There are a few more, the north end of the end of line, getting ready for processing, and we'll kind of come up to those here momentarily. But by far the biggest production today is the Model Ys. We do see some Cybercabs next to the end of line as well, people getting in. And on the north end, more of the Model Ys getting ready for processing. So that's pretty much what the activity level looks like with new vehicles on the outbound lot and end of line today. I did mention the mega chargers. This is what it looks like now. There are now 4 posts that will add a lot more capability to charge up the Tesla semis. And it looks like the cabinets have been upgraded as well. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of those Tesla semis here very soon. In fact, we're going to see one a little bit later in the video over at the crash testing facility. So while we're up here, I'll kind of fly over these staging yards and we'll take a look at some of the earthwork that is underway in this newly cleared section at the top of the screen. Of course, on the left, we see that flat graded area with all the gravel next to the containers and the workshops here in the middle of the screen. And that continues around the Evapco fan units and some of the transformers that are here over to where the steel is being stored. As we cross over into this field, a good look at how big this is becoming and how much of the dirt infill has been brought in. There's still a bunch of these ponds at the bottom of the screen that I think are going to be reclaimed at some point. I don't know how much they're going to be filling this in for the grade. You can tell with the old sand and gravel mining just how subgrade the entire dirt section is compared to the road surface. That's actually mimicked on the left-hand side of the screen with that Lone Star paving company. But I'm going to fly back towards the factory, kind of give you a better idea with this lighting of the work that is underway. As you can tell, more dirt is being brought in, and that's just continuing at a fairly quick pace today. And then here, where there used to be a lot of the materials, they've scraped away most of the gravel, and they've been doing some other grade work here, which makes me think that we might see some construction, at least beginning on this section right below the drone, and then, of course, continuing off into the other section where they're doing a lot of that grade work. This is just a good overall view of this entire site, and we'll keep watching to see how it transforms. I'm going to bring the drone up a little higher. We'll get a nice view at a little bit lower altitude, panning across the factory, and we'll resume on the other side where we'll see some activity with Cybercabs and picking up and dropping off employees. As we come in here, I'll change a view of the camera real quick. You'll see that it did a U-turn and another Cybercab has taken its place. If you watch around this road all along this flight path today, you're going to see plenty of these Cybercabs. And as I mentioned, they are doing the drop-off and pickups of employees, and it's happening in greater numbers all around the factory. This is the exit point for the Model Ys coming out of the factory. And it looks like maybe this is just the long-range versions today that are being built. With the numbers that we're seeing over the end of line, the production is pretty healthy for the Model Ys. I mentioned Cybercabs. There's 2 at the bottom of the screen, another one driving by. We see yet another over at this drop-off point. It's going to be doing a U-turn, and as it does that, we're going to see yet another Cybercab coming into view. Note that these all have the Cybercab logos, which is another indication that these are, of course, the fully autonomous ones, and it's part of that program that they announced a few weeks ago. This is the recycling for the 4680 cans. It does look like there's a lot here in these bins. So work is proceeding on building more and more of the batteries. There's yet another Cybercab coming by at the bottom of the screen. I mentioned that there are quite a few here today. As we wrap around the north end of the building here at the 4680 cell portion, we can see that those plastic temporary construction doors are open. They're doing work on the slab on the inside, and there is equipment deliveries underway here today. The plastics shop seems pretty busy with some of the parts in the bins and some of them being recycled. And then, as we mentioned in the video intro, a lot of these bins are filled with castings front and rear for the Cybertruck. Once again, give it this idea that they are producing a lot of the castings here, which is necessary for building the structure of the Cybertruck. But with the parts problem that they're having with one of their suppliers, it may be just building as many castings as they can, keeping them built in and stored up in this part of the site until they are able to resolve that and be able to build more. So as we come up over the power lines, I'll pan slightly to the east, get a real quick kind of teaser of where the Advanced Technology Chip Fab is going to be covered here momentarily, and how busy the parking lots are. Here we see a delivery of some of this crushed up aluminum. They use different kinds of feedstock, and they melt it down and then make more of the castings. You can see some castings getting ready for melting down. There's a lot less Cybercab castings here today. And of course, most of these are the Model Y castings on this part of the site. As I continue to look along this east side going to the south, you can tell that they are doing a lot of work still here where they have the opening in the wall. They've reconfigured at least 4 of the receiving doors. They put in the retaining walls, and the concrete was put in on my previous video, and continuing to reshape this entire section. I think it's going to be an opening to allow larger equipment to be brought in, but again, we'll be watching that to see if that is the case. A nice view along the east side of the factory. As I zoom back out, we'll look at the testing calibration lot, where it's just employee cars using the chargers, not really much more over by the helicopter pad. This staging yard has been transformed to some degree, where we see metal fabrication and pipe fabrication being done at the bottom of the screen. Some additional items, equipment, and trailers have been brought in. And there's this new structure that is awaiting completing on the center bottom of the screen next to this gray triple trailer. And of course, more of the trenching is being done by the other trailer complexes. This probably tees into more of the conduit that we've seen being put in. This is to give power to all of these facilities, and that suggests they're going to be here for some more time. As we get next to the temporary platform here, I'll zoom in, just get a look at these temporary chiller systems, which is used for that reaction injection molding machines for the Cybercab parts. Speaking of which, the exit point for the Cybercab is pretty quiet today. Don't really see many. And the outbound lot, as we saw earlier, doesn't really suggest there's a big amount being produced right now, or at least at the time that I was flying. More production equipment in red and white next to that plastic tent, and a good look around the southeast side of the factory. Here at the staging yard, more of the equipment has been brought in, wrapped in that silver, and you can see a truck is bringing in even more, and also those 3 large tanks that is slated for the body in white, all waiting for their turn to be moved into the factory. There is a big development here that I want to show you. It's directly under the drone. I'm going to maneuver around first, showing you that east side, and then I'll pan the drone down. The liner has been removed from this pond. You can see where that was the trench for the drain. That looks like it's being removed, and it just looks like overall this is going to be completely eliminated. Now, this is something we've been watching for a while as they've drained it out, and it was originally used to drain out the cooling system. That appears to be no longer needed. Around River Road, we also see some fresh dirt. Maybe they're getting ready to do some landscaping in the median and on either side. Some of the HDPE pipe is stockpiled nearby as well. And the intersection is coming along with a few more dividers near where they are putting in some new asphalt, and of course working on the outfall channel for this new lined pond. There's still some work to be done on the retaining walls to connect into that drain. Speaking of which, most of the bottom of the pond is drying up now. Again, I've had some viewers suspect that that may have been groundwater because of the height of the Colorado River with all the rains we recently had. As we get closer in here to this section, I'll zoom in and show you some of this equipment. I told you I was going to try to figure out what this is, and I think I have based on all the labels that are on this equipment. So as we kind of maneuver around here and get a good look at what it is, it turns out that this is Rexcon, which has a kind of a subsidiary Aztec. This is Concrete Batch Plant Products. This is an example from their catalog of many of their various mobile systems. So what I expect is this is a mobile concrete batch plant that'll be used to help build the Advanced Technology Chip Fab, which is at the top of the screen. And as I zoom out, an overall view of this site. So that section that they graded out and got rid of the trees looks like it's for that batch plant. As I continue to maneuver here, great views of this entire east side. We're passing over the recycle center on the left, more of the materials and workshops bottom of the screen, and a nice good overview of how this is continuing to transform. As I bring the drone back down here, the center bottom of the screen is more materials that are being stockpiled. I believe this is all for the construction of this fab. We can see that there's an access road at the bottom left to bring the equipment in onto the slab. And this is what it looks like with the activity of the GeoPiers today. They're making linear piers, as you can tell in this kind of rectangular section, and filling it with gravel and compacting it in to make the piers. We do see two pump trucks that are probably putting grout into some of the piers to make them even stronger. Right now they're waiting for the concrete trucks to arrive, and maybe they're doing some clean out. Also see several of the GeoPier compactors, those taller items, waiting for more work. So on the bottom of the screen, we see the rebar cages being fashioned, and with the size of the workers, it gives you a good sense of scale. More of them are on the right-hand side of the screen. And of course, this is all getting ready for when the excavation for the footings are done on top of where the piers are being placed. We do see some excavation near River Road where the new asphalt is, and kind of a lined section in the center of the screen. Of course, more of the steel corrugated pipe and other equipment stored here next to that pavilion that is still here by the trees. As I pull away slightly, this gives you a good look at how River Road continues to the north here at the bottom of the screen, connects in to what's already established on the left, and then that will be an intersection falling along at the bottom of the screen of the new Tesla Road. I've also brought the drone up a little bit higher for a good view of that Advanced Technology Chip Fab from this perspective, looking to the south, and how it is oriented next to the East Warehouse on Wheels. This trailer complex is still having some electrical conduit and preparing for the road surfaces, but as we know, these are supporting that Advanced Technology Chip Fab construction. Good view here of the Cortex 2, the chilling plant, and on the south end, the water pipes and some of the new lighting systems that have been put in. I'm going to fly along the parapet wall looking to the northwest, showing you how the megapacks are coming along on preparation on the right-hand side of the screen to bring in more of them. And many of them are stored over by the cathode building. Here's next to the workshop showing you the conduit, the open vaults, and where they've pulled through cabling. Of course, that connects into the rest of the conduit system that serves the megapacks that will be installed here. Of course, the crane is moving some of the beams that are being placed on the screw-type piers, and that will be the supports for the megapacks, very similar to what you see at the top right of the screen. As I continue to pull back to the north on the left, we'll see the new scaffolding that are platforms being put next to the wall, similar to the platforms on the right. That'll finish up all of this work in preparation of bringing in more of the transformers and electrical equipment for the megapacks. On the north end, one of the reasons why they cleaned out all of the equipment appears to be that they're doing trenching and bringing in more of that blue water pipe. It's extending all the way over to this direction and may, in fact, be part of this larger construction system that we see underway. The bottom of the screen is these round circular screw-type piers, which I think are mounts for tanks. And one other thing I wanted to point out is that there's a new workshop here just to the north of the battery cathode plant using containers in that rounded top tent. As I zoom in, You can see that they are doing work on pipes. There's another one that's being maneuvered here by the workers. And this is just more of all of these workshops being relocated because they need them here and they can't have them in the east side for the Advanced Technology Chip Fab construction. Here's a close look at this site. Some equipment being delivered. We see the green trench boxes and a lot of the work underground being done here on the south end. Looks like they are installing some of the pipes already into those trenches with the gravel. And I think this may be part of that water reclamation system, that is to take the excess water or the water from the cooling systems and recycle it. Here are all of those megapacks and the transformers waiting for their turn to be installed here on this side next to the part 2 of the cooling system. Of course, their workshop is very busy doing other work too. Pipes on the ground and near the second part of the chiller system with these 6 fans. We've seen concrete work being done in these vaults next to the wall, and this is a look down inside. The pipes have not yet been installed, and this construction site is getting more of the screw type piers. This is where we're going to see megapacks of the electrical equipment and wrapping up over the parapet wall. If you look to the left, it'll be very similar to what we see already installed, and that is supporting the part 1 of the cooling system. And then of course today 4 of the fans are in operation and more of the temporary chillers at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to kind of reposition the drone around here. We'll fly down the alleyway. We'll see some Matheson trucks arriving to fill up some more of the cryogenic commodities. And then we'll go across the cathode plant and take a look at what's going on at the crash testing. This refreshed Tesla Semi has been here for some time. It's been into the crash test facility for the last several weeks. It looks like there has been at least some degree of testing being done on it. Looks like maybe they have some tarps on the front, so maybe that's where the bulk of the testing has been done. The cab is to the top of the screen next to the black wall, and it's been on the ground there for some time. We do see evidence of more vehicles that have been crash tested. The crash test wall is in place at the south end of the opening of the crash test facility, so it looks like they're doing more of the front end collision testing today. We're coming back to River Road. I wanted to follow along here and show you how the median, the road surfaces, and everything else is coming along and getting ready for the concrete work and then asphalt. We also see the grade work that continues here next to the 47 megapacks that have been delivered so far and the cell testing lab building. More of the materials being stored here next to this tree. At one time, this was all just tree filled and concrete debris on the right-hand side of the screen as I pan towards it. Now it's been completely transformed. It's pretty much graded out. The only thing that's remaining of the old school is that one pipe next to that tree at the left center of the screen. And that is kind of, I don't know if thinking about calling it Joe's pipe because it's been here for so long and it was part of the original baghouse plant where now the electrical switch yard is. So it just keeps staying here, almost like a memento of the old days. As we continue to fly along River Road, it is obvious that it has been extended significantly up towards Lone Tree Field. Right now, the work that is being done here in between the trees is more of the drainage pipes being added. And it looks like most of that work is completed. They're now filling it back in. Once that's done, then they'll extend the lanes, the median, and the road surfaces, plus putting in some more electrical conduit for lighting. And it will continue to work its way through the trees all the way up here to Lone Tree Field. And then after this, it should continue to the north and connect into a brand new Harold Green Road, which has yet to be constructed. And how do I know that? Well, if you can see all the steel that's being stored in the yard at the upper right, kind of the rounded part of the north end of that clearing, that will eventually collect over towards where the Optimus Factory is, and the permits show that it has a Harold Green Road address. The Northeast Trailer Complex and Materials continues to see a lot of activity here. More steel is being brought here at the bottom of the screen, some of it being relocated from other parts of the site. Of course, many of the workshops are coming into their own, being very busy, especially these here at the bottom of the screen. The new steel structure does not look like they've moved any operations in quite yet. And just to the top right of that structure, we see these other workshops, and it looks like they're preparing to do 2 more with the containers being placed. The clearing on the south end has extended farther to the south next to the tree lines. The silt fences have been moved back. They're continuing to bring in dirt to reclaim this section. And this is a good look across this site for reclamation to the Optimus Factory. And of course, the pond on the left. Now, one of the things I've had some viewers ask is, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, there's kind of angled corners. And here it looks like there may be start of an angled corner, maybe on the right-hand side of the screen. So some people are speculating that maybe this is the southern border of the building. That may or may not be true. It's hard to tell, but the angled corner is offset several column widths from the parapet wall on the left. So I think it's worth continuing to watch and see what they do, since there's so much land that they are reclaiming to the south. GeoPiers are very busy today, as you can tell on the bottom left, preparing for more footings extending through this part of the site. There are more rebar cages being assembled. As I zoom in, this gives you a great look at the size of the workers for scale. I'll keep the zoom in, show you these pedestal type of footings that are being constructed with the concrete trucks and the workers. This also gives you a really great sense of scale. These are gigantic footings, even though from the drone sometimes it's hard to tell just how large they are. As I keep the zoom in, I'll pan up. You can tell that one of the cranes is getting some maintenance. They may be lengthening it. It's hard to tell for sure, but there is a truss nearby. And also just the amount of steel, and the trucks continuously bringing in even more of the steel as they build out the structure. And more of the cranes here busy. Actually, it looks like there's now looks like maybe 8 cranes, so that new one may be another one. So they really want to accelerate the speed of assembly. And speaking of the size, it's grown now by a couple more column grids long here. It's I think 14 or 15 column grids now. The last time we saw this, it was 13, so that continues to grow. And we see that more of that roof and floor decking has been installed. One of the things that is kind of interesting about the way they're approaching this construction, and a great view across the structure back towards Giga-Texas, is that they've built it up to the parapet wall, or the perimeter grade beam, sorry, on the right-hand side of the screen. And on the left, there's 5 column widths that has yet to be built out. It's almost like they're only building portions of the factory right now, and then later on they'll come back and widen it even further. So I'm not sure why they would approach it that way, but if you have any ideas, please let me know. At the perimeter grade beam here on the north side, you can see those angled corners, and also the northern beam being built right now with some formwork connecting in all of those footings. And as I kind of pan back out, a great shot from this angle of the rest of the entire structure. So for today, I think that will be it for all the detail looks, and I hope that you found all that helpful. Before we end the video, what I do want to do is keep the drone at a higher altitude. We're just going to fly mostly to the south along all of this construction. What I'm trying to show you is just the extent of all that the site is being modified, they are building, and it's incredible the amount of infrastructure that is being put into place. At the second quarter financial results meeting, a lot of people were concerned about capital expenditures and where all the money is going. Well, I'm showing you it right now. Quite a bit of the future, much of the AI, the humanoid robot, and chips are all being built now, and this is what is going to dominate the discussion in 2028 and beyond. So you are seeing a bit of the future coming to fruition right now as they are building it across the entire site. So I hope that you found all of this helpful, and maybe learned a little bit of something new today as well. Thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate it. Take care.